Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about the back four, but once we gain possession of the ball, how do we go from a defense position and open up the field and start to build an attack as an offensive back four? Again, we like to lay it off, play to our back line, and maintain possession, and use them as the building blocks for our attack. A couple main objectives we're going to talk about is creating depth and width. We have to spread out the field once we get the ball. Staying behind the ball and facing the field of play. This is probably the biggest thing why we're doing this video, because this is one of the hardest things for players to really understand how to be effective. We do this because we have to keep an eye on the opposition and we have to have a fast speed of play to be effective. And then we refer to this as swinging the ball to the other side of the field. It allows us to shift the ball and shift our players hopefully faster than the opposition, and we can attack all as one fluid motion. So let's take a look at a scenario. So imagine that the red team has the ball, as we see here, and it's on the left-hand side of play. Defensively, we're a little bit tighter now because we're putting pressure on the ball, we're supporting, and we're condensing their space to take away their time and space. So let's say go ahead and the blue player steps in and shields the player and effectively steals the ball. Again, the first thing he wants to do is obviously he can't make a play because we have a defender now in red trying to get the ball back here, here, and here. So smart thing to do is lay the ball off to our outside back. Now, first thing we have to talk about is how do we create width and depth. We gotta create space, okay? So everyone in the back four needs to start opening up. So again, if he stays right here, this guy can easily get on. So as this guy moves to the side of play, this guy needs to back up, get behind the ball. We need to back up again, get behind the ball. And this guy needs to start transitioning sideways. So already we started to create width by shifting sideways. Notice the outside player. And depth, meaning we're going to slide back here and create some now room in the middle for our midfielders to work. So now this guy, after he laid it off, he has room to get to the middle of the field. So I'm going to square him back up, and he's our midfielder for this time. As we get the ball, we need to shift and pass the ball in front of our player. Now, a lot of times we see our players, they start in this position and they want to turn around and then run backwards to get problem. But the problem is, as you run backwards, and the ball is either passed here or even here, and this guy runs on top of you, he can't see, and if he messes up, instant goal by the red team, okay? So it's very imperative that we stay squared up, and as we move backwards, that we backpedal, stay facing the field. Notice he's facing forward, and the ball's played in front of him, okay? So that's what we mean by facing the field of play and get behind the ball. So that way we can view the field of play ahead of us. The ball is passed in front of us. We want to make contact, and then as we dribble sideways. The whole goal of this play is that here there is a lot of pressure, okay? We want to shift the ball all the way around to the other side of the field and attack, get forward faster than this group of red can shift over and defend. So we want to go to with our space and attack. And again, so now that he has the ball, he shifts over, he starts to move with the play. He can pass, again, a leading pass in front of him. So we're not passing directly to feet because we don't want to get behind him. Pass in front of him so he can walk onto the play. We start to shift over with the ball as well. And this guy gets all the way to the sideline and starts to move up the field of play. And notice we can pass the ball into attack position. And again, we want this to happen, so as this guy's trying to put pressure on the ball, we get him chasing his tail, and notice he cannot keep up with the speed of play, and we're able to attack up the far side of the field. And again, these guys position. The whole time, we want to do this very fluidly, quickly, simple two-touch possession through the field. We don't want to hang on to it too long. Errors that we see, again, messed up on is we get the thing, we lay off. Sometimes we pass the ball behind us and we're trailing it and we get pressure behind, or this guy gets too forward, and if we mess up, he can steal in and then shoot the ball. So we want to avoid those situations. So again, we want to get behind the ball, get it. So if you get pressure, this guy has to support his teammate. We can lay it off to the side, step onto the play. As he's chasing, he's getting wide, play forward. We can step onto the play, support, and the whole time staying ahead. Now, notice, let's say this guy just gets over and we're not efficient with the attack, and he starts to come behind. Notice this player, as the midfielder who laid it off, he can come into the field of play again, and if we're defended here, we can simply give it right back to the midfielder, and again, we have a midfielder in the middle of the field with space around him to effectively play again. We may get this far forward, and he may lay off again, but the nice thing is we can start to advance little by little throughout the field and maintain our position and still attack, okay? And we could swing from side to side, effectively using space and going forward, 10, 20 yards at a time and maintaining the width of the field. Okay, we got to use the whole width here. So those are some aspects of the offensive thing we call the swing. We'll be going through a drill to illustrate that pattern of movement. So again, watch this a couple times and understand the objectives and goals of what we're after.